Hi, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Long time no see. Hope you are having a good summer. I hadn't had a chance to say, but I was so impressed with recitals. It was a wonderful way to close out the semester and, you know, the school as we know it, because some of you might not know, but we have stopped the different lessons at the school and we have closed up our location. And I actually gave away everything, all of our instruments and everything. And just it's time to go into a new direction with the school. And so, one of those ways in which I'm doing it is that I'm taking a break from being a director. I think that it has been hard on me. And, teaching at a public school, it was just too much. It was just too much. And so I really enjoyed the recitals though. And it was so heartening to see other it just in these moments it feels sometimes like you don't matter. It feels like what you do doesn't matter, and it was just nice to see where some of these students have really have ended up, and that it just reminds you. I think it's hard for me to remember things when things are tough. And so um and it took me until now, until the middle of July. I've been pretty angry. Again, I'm so glad that so many of you guys were able to benefit from the giveaway of the instruments. I mean, it took me a lot of money and a lot of time to be able to get those instruments, to get the pianos and everything. And so I didn't feel right to just give them to anybody. Um, but part of me is angry because I've had so many people in the last year, especially, but a lot of years before that, would reach out to me and say, "Hey, I have this piano, can you help us either sell it, or can we give it away to one of your students?" And nobody would bite most of the time. And I just knew how hard it was in this time for people to value or have space or have the means to be able to get a piano. And so I knew that selling my pianos was not feasible at all. And it worries me. It just worries me that that's kind of where we're at right now, and that we can't even give away a classical instrument. And yeah, I think that as a society, we're going to have to get to a different place for this to be valued again. And I think that it will be. And our school is definitely not done for good. And I'm still teaching lessons. By the way, if you are looking for voice lessons, I'm taking students. And in addition to my teaching in public school, I'm also, yeah, going to be teaching lessons. So you can reach out. I don't live far from where our school was. And so I would love to work with you. But it just, there is going to have to be a little bit of time, I think, until society meets back up with the I don't know, just valuing the traditional aspects of music. And so I think it's going to take some time. And so again, I appreciate all of my teachers. You guys were awesome, for all that you do and keeping this alive and keeping this value alive. And luckily they're able to teach a lot of the students that we had. By the way, a lot of you from our school are still going to take lessons, and that is amazing. It was just not sustainable in the way that I just think that we're in a weird time. And so it kind of just makes me, I feel angry about it. I have a lot of anger. I feel like I've been let down by a lot of situations, but I think just the fact that it's like a value that it's not overall, I don't know, it's just not as prevalent anymore. And I think, again, we've talked about this in other shows that I think that our attention span is a lot lower now. And so, what it really takes to be a musician, and that's really what I want a lot of people to take from this, what really it takes to be a musician is dedication. It's just a long term, almost lifelong, if you love it, no matter what it looks like in terms of where you're performing, what you're doing, that it's a lifelong thing. And I get the impression that people are on overload and not able or wanting when things especially are getting hard. I just notice it when things are hard, that's when the dedication isn't there. And unfortunately, that hurts those of us who have small businesses that are um yeah, reliant upon the same people, you know? And so I think there's got to have to be a attitude shift. I've got to restructure and think about some stuff like that. Yeah, maybe lower overhead and stuff, I will think we're not gone, but also I don't think, even though I just gave away everything, and I will mention that I've had a school reach out to me, or maybe like a franchise has reached out to me a few times about buying the school, and I refused. I refused. I think that we're in the age right now of schools and other things that are like cheaply made, um that are just like cookie cutter, like that don't really care about the traditional stuff, doesn't don't care about the classical music as much, and really focus in on what is going to make the easiest buck. And it worries me. And so I feel angry in that I've dedicated 14 years of my life to this. Like, it's something I feel very strongly about. It's things of lots of mistakes that I've made that I've had to like redo and do new things, and then work on this like all the time, working, dedicating my life, all hours of the day to this, and it's still not working. It's not working, and I don't know what the answer is, but I will say that me giving away everything, the thousands of dollars that I put into this, it doesn't make me a good person, because I'm angry. Like, this is like, it was almost out of selfishness that I wanted to give this stuff away, because if I could have sold it, if I could have, done that, I would have. And it should have been that way. And I still believe in that, the value. And I believe that, yeah, we have to value things that people put time and effort. And, I mean, I just don't think when you go in and out of a program, if you're in for a second and then you leave, do you actually know if that worked? How do you actually know if you got better? Because in a short amount of time, yes, there will be some basic things that you'll learn, but it's in the up and down. It's through the journey, the hero's journey, and everybody's a hero in their own lives. And so it's anger. So I haven't been able to talk to people. I haven't, because it's not just that, I'm angry at society in general. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at my teachers, and it's not, they didn't do anything. It's just that I don't think that this model, this music school model works when we're not all dedicated. When we're when we when we're in an economy where we're focused solely on how much we have to make. And the past year, I haven't been able to live on what I've been making. And I was able to go a few more months, because I wanted to make sure that all of my teachers were taken care of through the end of the semester. But yeah, it wasn't, things were not looking very good as of last September. And again, we want our teaching to be the best that we can, and that's why we do the trainings, and that's why we like keep challenging each other, and we're never complacent about things and say, well, this is how it's all, that we always try to get better. But if not everybody is on board with that, if everybody is comfortable and like how things have been, or I just I'm angry. And I'm angry at how in my position over these 14 years, there have been some beautiful moments, of course, but when people have issues, they came to me. And typically when they came to me and they wanted out, because that was always how we deal with stuff. We don't actually deal with things. We just like, you take it out on me, is then I'm threatened, or it's the retaliation. It's not that I don't want to do this anymore. It's not it's the retaliation. It's the step that goes beyond, that I couldn't handle anymore. Like I couldn't handle it. It didn't happen all the time. It was very few amount of people, but those few amount of people, we have lost the plot. When we start blaming each other instead of doing our part, we have to be an active participant in this. This is not an inactive role. This is not a passive role. This is an active role. And I felt like the people that were having the issues were passive, were not willing or wanting to take a role in this. They wanted to be entertained. And I worry that's where music is going, that it's all about entertainment. That's all it's about. And entertainment could lack a lot of things because it can lack the technique behind it, lack the inner strength. I mean, there's so many things that you can glaze over when you're focused just on entertainment, just in having fun. I worry that this school, and I worry that music in general will go into the hands of people who prioritize rock and pop. And those things aren't bad. Let me just reiterate, those things I enjoy listening to both of them a lot. But where is the tradition? Where is when I was in school, you performed, but then you also perform for each other too. It was a weekly occurrence, usually happening twice a week. And it was something that was just tradition. And I think that a lot of the schools now are like wham bam, think, okay, we're gonna just do 30 minutes. All right, I want to sing this song. Okay, I'm gonna learn this song, we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna go on. And they lost the plot. They lost why we're doing this, why we are singing a song, why we are because it's not about the song and it's not about being able to be entertainment. What is it about? It's about gaining confidence, which is in our mission. It's about being in community with each other. It's about learning about ourselves. It's about growth. It's about hero's journey and then the dips and really trying, not having one foot in and one foot out, but really, really trying. I had this vision, and I have to say, in the past few years after I completed my class, my music school business class, I was never so sure of what direction I wanted for this school, what I wanted to see these students, what they were doing in their lives, what the teachers were doing, like traveling to each school and being the doing master classes for each other. We're all learning from each other. That teachers felt so important and so such pillars of knowledge, and you know just that it's this revered thing. And that's I feel that stuff. I mean, I feel that stuff towards them, but I worry that we're in community and our society now doesn't see that. They don't see that. And I don't know how to get there. So you know what I did? I'm taking off my foot off the pedal. I'm saying, you know what? I'm one of the parts of this job that I despised the most is marketing. I despised it because to me, it was constantly trying to prove your worth over and over again to people who were sometimes they would, see it, other times not. Nobody should have to prove their worth. I think that marketing is a empty waste of time because it doesn't improve any of the things that we're trying to do. We were trying to get ideal students, people that we saw would be good matches, like good, they would buy into the mission and they would buy into the things that we were trying to do and that they wanted to go further with this, that they were not just wanting a shallow overview of what it means to be a musician, but to really jump in. And those who are here at the end, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. It's no wonder that you were here. It's no wonder. But it got increasingly hard and increasingly I was pressured into making it a different thing. That I was being told, nope, this, and this. I think it's really tough as a female business owner. And I'm going to say this, a female business owner, I was constantly expected to accommodate, to oblige, to behave a certain way, to, yeah, I had to be perfect. Or the retaliation. And I just could not hang with it anymore. 14 years of this. I needed a break from it. And I think that the society needs a break because we have got to do a reset. Maybe this is a good thing. Maybe we are all resetting, but something's got to change. Something's got to change. Now, I am just viewing it. What there are also wonderful things that, again, we had a tight knit group of students that were at the school that were here until the end that were working. And we saw it in the competition that we had, and I saw it in the recitals. I saw it in the convocations. Some of the same people were coming, and they were really serious about this, wanted to do well. And I saw that, and I saw you, and I want you to know that I saw you and I appreciate you. And you will only get rewarded from that going on because you were finding out what you were made of, what you want in this world. And the only way to know what you want is if you go in full force. And you did that, and I saw you. It's just, unfortunately, it wasn't enough to sustain. And so a reset, and like I said, I've got to reset. And so I will. And those teachers who are going on and taking their students, like, I want to come to your recitals. I want to see everything. I believe in you. And you were so kind. They gave me a beautiful plaque at the recitals and I felt so loved. Sometimes it's really hard for me to feel that way, to feel like I matter when it was just like kind of one thing after the next for a while. And it's helpful for me to be reminded every now and then because easily it's easy to forget that you mean that. And so again, don't stop. Don't stop doing classical music, right? This is, you made a promise to the school for a little while. Now you make a promise to yourself too. Don't stop doing music just because we are not having convocation. Although I might still have one if you're a voice student, and we'll see. But don't stop. Don't stop performing each other. Don't stop finding places. Go play at retirement homes. They love that stuff. I mean, just don't stop, no matter what happens. And if you need the names of good teachers, please reach out. I definitely have ways of of getting you that information. We don't want you to go away not knowing how to play and not feeling confident. And I'm just seeing more and more groups are begging for money. I'm noticing that a lot of the music schools around here are begging for teachers. And I think we're at a crossroads for music in the Raleigh, Durham area. I think we're in a major crossroads. I think that um, we as a society have to do a shift. We have to do a shift. We have to stop trying to do everything, trying to do every curricular activity, and focus on a couple or focus on one. And when we can do that, then we can do more with that. And then we are also, if it's a two-way street, if we're also helping the local businesses. We're also realizing, oh yeah, well, we're contributing to this business as well. We are not only we are dedicating our child's time to this, but we are also committing to a local business. And I think it's really, really important. And sometimes I felt like we were made to order, like a fast food restaurant. Do you have this type of teacher and this blah, 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 blah. A good teacher should be able to pivot and be able to give things. Now, obviously, not every teacher is going to be good for every student, and it's just the reality of the situation. But we never want to just jump out fast without trying because we didn't get immediately what our needs, but we try things for a while. We try and understand the language of the teacher. So that's why I worry that schools that do not hire teachers with degrees, that is going to go out the window. And so nobody's going to know what it takes to go to music school for music college because they didn't go. They don't know. And they don't know what it actually takes. And that is a huge worry for me too, that we're going to be taking from teachers who don't have degrees. Now, some instruments, maybe that's fine, but classical instruments, it worries me very, very much. Please let me know how you feel about that. But it worries me because then what happens is it brings the whole profession down. So the people who don't have degrees in music can charge less, can afford to, if it's something they're just doing, haphazardly as a whatever, which is great. There is nothing wrong with people wanting to teach. That there's nothing wrong with that. I just worry that we are wiping out the people who did want this as their primary career, as they have gone through a lot of schooling and possibly a lot of debt and a lot of time and a lot of learning and a lot of figuring what works and what doesn't. And that worries me. So yeah, I have been in the grief process of anger lately. And so I thought it's probably not the best thing to get on here and to be talking while I'm so angry. But then I thought, you know what? I've been on here showing other sides of me. Might as well show this side too. I think that I put myself in this position, this vulnerable position of putting myself in front of you guys, knowing that sometimes I look like a complete idiot, or I look like I'm a complainer, or I look like I am emotional, and I am emotional. I'm very sensitive. And I was taught for so long that wasn't okay, that I always had to have a level head. But there is something called healthy anger that I don't show very often to most people. And I've started changing that. No, I have been angry. I'm angry at this situation. This is not what I wanted to happen at all. What I wanted is to have three different schools, and I wanted to be able to run some of it remotely so that we could do master classes and hire teachers to go to different places. I had this whole thing mapped out and I had it ready to go. That doesn't mean that that's done. That, by the way, that idea is done. I just am regrouping, and in some ways I've got to have a better hiring process. Uh, Unfortunately, because a lot of teachers have not been valued at schools here, I'm sure a lot of the degree teachers don't want to work at schools. They don't want to work in places like that. And it's a lot of overhead. And so over the years, I've noticed that there's very little value for teachers to do that other than we supply students. But that is a big part of what we do is supply students. And so there has to be more buy-in than that. There has to be more. And I thought that I was doing that, and it just, and obviously I had a good team, but it was just, there needs to be more. And I think this also goes for public school, what I'm doing. There needs to be more buy-in for public school teachers, right? And there needs to be more buy-in and for college professors. So I think that's where it starts. There's got to be more buy-in. I just haven't figured out what that is, because I'm sorry, money is a motivator, but it is not the only thing. There's got to be other things too. And I thought by, you know, there was just a lot of different things I was, thinking about how I could help the teachers feel more valued for what they're doing at a music school versus teaching on their own. Because a big part of teaching on your own that's a downside is that you don't see other teachers very often. You get stuck in your own stuff. It's lonely. I mean, and I'm going back to this now, where I did for years before I started the school was teaching on my own, and I missed having a group. But I think that it's different because we are also so stressed out. We are also having to do other things too. So we're getting community other places. Ideally, that wouldn't be the case. Ideally, we would just be teaching and singing or teaching and performing. And that's just not feasible anymore. We're doing so many different things. So if you have any ideas on this, let me know. I am open. I'm going to regroup for a little while and think about what this looks like. And no, I'm not going to be selling out my school to just any old franchise that doesn't know this area, doesn't know what it takes to be a musician. I mean, this music school was not even owned by someone who was a musician. It was, I mean, since when do we value schools where they're not actually done the things that they're trying to teach? Like, it's just amazing to me. I actually know why, though. I know the answer to that, because they're business people and they have perfected the business. But who cares if you can run a business? Who cares if you can market? If you can't teach? If you can't value your teachers? If you pay low amount and you don't care if they have a degree? Who cares? It's empty. It doesn't matter. Who cares if your teacher only care about being mediocre and not wanting to get better? Who cares? Who cares about all the other stuff is filler. It's filler. And I could not, for the life of me, focus on marketing anymore. I was going to poke my eyes out. And I stopped doing it this past year. I stopped doing it. I wasted so much money and time on that. In the music school class that I was in, we wasted so much time on that instead of getting better, being better teachers, being a better program, offering what we can offer. Does it take us going poor and being evicted and going through bankruptcy in order for us to be better teachers, because then we can't focus on the money at all? Or can we also be able to make a living, a comfortable living, and then also care about our students doing well too? I feel like as a woman, I'm asked to become completely bankrupt, not have any money coming in order for me to be a respected teacher, a respected director of a music school. So yeah, me giving away that stuff, it was selfish. It was selfish because I knew that I wouldn't be able to sell it, because I don't think that people value that stuff anymore. And I think it's going to change. I think when we start to see that it's gone, that more and more schools close, more and more teachers can't do this anymore, or the ones that are doing it are retired, or they're not going to be around anymore because they're old, and the ones who are young can't afford to do that anymore. Only then will we see, only then, because we don't value when we have things, we value when they're gone. It's a shame. But that doesn't mean that I'm done. It doesn't mean I'm out or I'm gone forever. I'll be back on here. I'll be back on here to give more of a piece of my mind for whoever might listen. I believe in this stuff, even now, when I might have to go bankrupt. Even now. but I should not have to be in this position. I shouldn't have to be in this position. That every year the economy, I mean, there's more inflation and all that stuff, yet we're supposed to stay at the exact same price every year. Every year. If the schools are at the same price every year, what are they forfeiting? What are they saving on? That would be my question. What are they saving on? Just a thought. I will be back on at some point. Again, those who are here till the end, a good 100 and some of you, the teachers that were here, I appreciate you very much and want only good things for you. I want you to know that. And I want you to know that I'm not coming down on you. But I just would love to see a mental shift because I can do all the work on myself. And I have been like therapy every week. I've been going every week for a long time, doing the trauma work that I need to be doing, yoga training. So I'm getting that good meditation in. I am teaching, moving my body almost daily. I teach Pilates and I sub at different places for that. I am taking care of myself. I am getting obviously new jobs, and I'm making this work, and I am making myself vulnerable on here. And it doesn't just take me doing that work. Even I notice in my relationships, there is an expectation of me having to be perfect, that I am having to entertain. If I am not behaving perfect, if I don't behave the exact right way, the retaliation that I've talked about, as I've noticed as a music school owner, is that not only do they not approve, but they also leave. They also peace out. They say, nope, and it's not, I don't think it's 100% done because they can't handle things, although I think that is definitely maybe them trying to regulate or whatever it might be. I think there's punishment involved in that. I think that this is a society-wide issue that we peace out, we avoid when anything gets tough. And we want to control. I've done this, tried to control people by a lot of different means. And I have no control over anybody at all. And look, Exhibit A, I've literally given up my school. Now I still have the name and I still have my materials and stuff, and I still have myself, but I've given up everything else. So I have no control. And the teachers all have their students now. I have none. People are going to see very fast that, and I'm going to see that, like, as this process more and more, we don't control over everybody, and we don't just drop things because we want to punish people because we don't like how they behave. That, like, on a momentary thing, we look at it like the hero's journey. There's ups and downs. Is this person in a relationship? Are they willing to be with you? Are they willing to hear? Have you tried having communication? Same thing with the school. Have you tried? My child can't practice. My child doesn't want to practice. I don't, or my child isn't liking this. Have you sat down with your teacher and talked to them? Have you come up with a plan to work this out? Have you helped your child? You're not breathing down their neck every 5 seconds, but are you holding them accountable to what they agreed upon? If not, don't go looking at the teacher that or the school is the fault, is the problem, right? It might be part of it. Well, none of us are squeaky clean all the time, but that is a part of it. Have you looked at yourself? Have you looked at your role in things? I am looking at my role a lot, and I have been for a while. Hence, I'm taking a step back. I'm taking a step back because I don't think the issues that I'm having as of late really are in my control. with this school, with what, like, so again, I can adjust as much as I possibly can. I'm going to do some more research as much as I possibly can. But at some point, after I've been doing a bunch of research the past few years, after I put thousands of dollars into a program that I really still believe in, after I've done so much stuff, at some point, this relationship between me and this and society out here and trying to do put in a business product, it's gonna, we both have to do stuff. We both have to come to the table. It cannot just be me. So I'm just noticing that in a lot of areas. So it cannot just be me. We all have to be coming to the table. And maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe there's a blind spot. And I will completely admit that is possible. It is very easy for me to have blind spots. But the part that I can see that things are not, it is not reciprocal. It has not been reciprocal in a lot of different ways. We cannot expect a relationship, and that's what this is. A music school is a relationship. You cannot expect a relationship to thrive if you are not putting in any of the work. Here's my money and that's it. Here's my child. Do whatever. Make them a musician. You have to be involved. You have to be involved. Doesn't mean that you are, again, breathing down the neck, but you have to be involved. Same with the teachers. Teachers can't just wipe their hands of, this student isn't learning, I'm not the right fit. Have you done what you could do? Have you tried different things? Have you involved me? Have you talked to other people? Have you talked to the parents? Have you made a team of things? No? Then you don't just go, but done. You work at it. And we don't work at relationships anymore. We expect everything just to be easy and like no big deal. No, I get it. If you're reaching out and you're communicating with people and they are not responding, that's when you can say, okay, that's information. But it is just, we do have to, we've talked about attachment versus authenticity. We have to value attachment. We have to value attachment. We have to. Stop avoiding everything in your life. Stop avoiding, because things aren't going to be easy. We are all different. We all are going to respond to different things. The way we bridge that gap is communication. Communication. We don't think all the same way. Although I've talked about that collective unconscious. I know I've talked about that before. That doesn't mean we all think exactly the same way all the time. I think there are overall things that we all might share some stuff with, but I don't think that we all exactly, our triggers aren't the same always. Like, there's just so many things. And the way we bridge this gap, the way that we find harmony, the way that we learn to live with each other and to thrive with each other is we communicate. We don't just give up at the first sign of struggle. We keep going. What is the other choice? What is the other choice? We go through this life not knowing a whole bunch of different types of people, not trying a bunch of different things, not really living. We are looking for music schools that are easy, that are like McDonald's for music schools. I want to learn this song, I got to play this, and then that's it. I could go on and on about this. And again, my intention for this is not to offend. I don't, although if you're offended, that's not, I can't worry about the outcome. Now, if I've hurt you, I mean, let me know. That's not what I intend, but I'm really working on this people pleasing stuff because I've done this for a long time. I did this for a long time. It all came out in this school, and I can't people please all the time. Even when I was thinking I was a people pleaser, I was not able to do that all the time because you can only take so much. And then it just is like it bursts. And so now, yeah, I'm done. I'm sure that I will have that come up every now and then that I have to do that. And especially if I don't know you very well, I'm going to probably do that. But life is about learning. It is not about like not dealing with stuff. But I can't be doing this stuff by myself. I can't be the only one. And I know I'm not the only one. Sometimes it feels like I'm the only one. But communication and bridging the gaps and meeting people and wanting to work together on stuff, that's, I think, the key to a wonderful life. A life full of color, a life full of mistakes, but then a life full of good things too. It doesn't always feel like there's good things though, especially when you feel like that a lot of the time you walk out halfway to meet the people and then there's nobody there to meet you and you go back and you're like, okay, okay, okay. And that happens over and over again. You're like, okay. And so hence the disorganized thing, because that happens quite a bit. I'll walk out and I'm like, maybe, maybe, and then no. So yeah, I know I probably need a perspective shift on this. And I'm working on it because I am dedicated to working on that because yeah, I want to have this school up and running and I want to help people more and more and I want to be performing more and I want to meet those dreams that I had. It's just figuring it all out. All right, on that note, talk to you soon. Bye.